Good morning, dear student. Today we will continue our history chapter number 3, the Sultans of Delhi. So, student, before continuing this chapter, let's recall what we learned in our previous video. So, student, in our previous video, we learned about the sources of Delhi Sultanate. Student, we all know that we have some sources, which is inscriptions, coins, and monument, and also we have history in written form, that is called Tariq. Okay, so uh, we have these sources about the sultans of Delhi, but we cannot trust on these Tariq, because these Tariq were written the by the people who are supported by the, or you can say who are sponsored by the sultan. So that people who wrote that Tariq may be partial. He only wrote about the king's good thing. He not wrote about the bad things, means what is the problem of people of that king's kingdom. Okay, so we cannot believe these Tariq which is written by the king's people who totally dependent on any king. So now here we have dynasties of Delhi Sultanate. So we have five dynasty. Delhi Sultanate were ruled by five dynasties. Okay, first one is the slaves, and this dynasty's period is was 1206 to 1290 CE. Then after the slave, the Khiljis, and their time period was 1290 to 1320 CE. Then the Tughlaq, and their time period was 1320 to 1414 CE. And after that, the Sayyids, and they rule 1414 to 1451 CE. And after Sayyids, we have the Lodhis, and they ruled 1451 to 1526 CE. So let's start with slave dynasty. So the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate needed reliable governance and administrators. Okay, Muhammad Ghori had no son, so he neutered slaves, called that Bangagam in Persian, like his son. So, student, we all know that Muhammad Ghori was the first invented who invent in India because of its wealth. Okay, so this Muhammad Ghori had no son, but he had many slaves. Okay, and he treat their slaves like their his own son. Okay, so after these slaves were placed as governor and later raised to the status of sultans. So Muhammad Ghori placed these slaves as a governor, and after some time that governor will become a sultan of that area or that region. Okay, so so after Ghori's death in 1206, okay, one of his slave Kutubuddin Aibak lead lead the foundation. Okay, when Muhammad Ghori passed away in 1206, so his one of the slave, which is Kutubuddin Aibak, lead the foundation of the slave dynasty. Okay, and which rule over the subcontinent for about 84 years. Okay, and after that, this Kutubuddin Aibak's slave dynasty rule in subcontinent for 84 years. Kutubuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, and Ghiyasuddin Balban, the three great sultan of the dynasty, were themselves sold and purchased during their early lives. And who were the famous king of this slave dynasty. So first one is Qutbuddin Aibak itself, and after Qutbuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish and Ghiyasuddin Balban. These three are great sultan of the slave dynasty, and these three these three great sultans of the dynasty were themselves sold. Okay, they all are slave, they all were slave. In 1236, Razia, the daughter of Iltutmish, became the Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. The chronicle of this period, Minhaj ul Siraj, says that she was more able and qualified than all her brother. Okay, so student, in 2036, Razia, the daughter of Iltutmish. Okay, after the death of Iltutmish, Razia, the daughter of Iltutmish, uh, become the Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. Okay, the chronicle, okay, chronicle of that period, Miraj ur us Siraj, says that Razia was more able and qualified than all her brother, but the noble in her court were uncomfortable. Okay, but Razia was more able and qualified for sultan if we compare them to her brothers, but the noble of court were uncomfortable because they don't want to lady as a ruler, and therefore differences between the court become the order of the day. Ultimately, Razia Sultan were removed from the throne in 1240. Okay, so because that court persons are um, not wanted to a female or a lady as their sultan, so Razia Sultan and the courtmen had many differences, and the result of it, in 1240 Razia Sultan was removed from the throne, and she ruled very short period, which is 1236 to 1240 CE. Okay, so now we have from Grecian town to empire. Okay, so student, till the late 19th century, the control of the Sultanate was largely confined to heavily fortified towns with the presence of soldiers known as garrison towns. Okay, so student, in late 13th century, okay, the control of the sultanate was largely confined to heavily fortified towns. Okay, so they fortified the town. Okay, means they captured new towns, and their military, their soldiers were stay that town, and these soldiers were known as garrison towns. It would have been extremely difficult for the sultans to adjust to the system of revenue extraction of the earlier period of these regions, and it is very difficult for sultan to find or to take revenue from that villages, because people of that villages are not ready to give them revenue, or you can say give them money as a tax. So they were new to the territory and come from a different ruling background altogether. So why they are not ready to give them tax? Because that slave dynasty, king of slave dynasty, are were not belongs to this country. They are foreigner, so their culture, their language, their all things was different from people who live here. So they are not wanted to uh, they are not wanted to cooperate them. Therefore, in the beginning, the major part of the revenue of the Sultanate came from the tribute and plunder of the territories surrounding the garrison town. So, in beginning days, the whole revenue, or you can say most of revenue of the Sultanate came from the tribute and plunder of the territories surrounding the garrison's town. The accession of Balban in around 1265 provided the Sultanate with an iron-willed ruler who aimed at consolidating the hinterlands, the area adjacent to a city of the garrison town for constant extraction of revenue and resources. So student, this is Balban, and he started around 1265. He wanted to solve this problem. Okay, so mm, so after solving this problem, he will be able to taking revenue and also resources. Under him huge forest area were cleared in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, and these land were given to the peasant. And what he did, he cleared the very huge area, forest area of in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, and he give these land to peasant. Many new towns and for fortresses were also built to situate the mukti or local commander at the and the soldiers. And he set up new towns, many new towns, and also frontiers, and it's built to situated the mukti, or you can say the local commander and the soldier. When the sultanate expanded till the south, the sultanate collect revenue from the peasantry, traders, and in some case tribute was also taken from the local rulers. So student, after some time that slave dynasty continue extend their region from North India to South India, and that time the sultanate collect revenue from peasantry, traders, and in some case tribute was also taken from the local rulers. Balban was succeeded by weak ruler, hence the throne of Delhi was taken over by the Khilji. Okay, so after demise of Balban, the rulers of who belonging to this slave dynasty were very weak. So the throne of Delhi was taken over by the Khiljis, and after this the Khiljis and Tughlaqs were were ruled in Delhi Sultanate. Okay, and we discussed about the Khilzis and Tughlaq in our next class. Okay, so student, I hope you all understand that slave dynasty. But if you have any doubt, any query, so free feel to ask. And this is enough for today. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.